boogeyman.
Run, Randy, run!
Welcome to the Inferno. I'm Papa John, and I'm here to guide you through all the hellish sides of horror. And today we are talking about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the third film in the main line of Conjuring movies, as well as, I believe, the 8th film in the entire Conjuring universe. And so let's get started. So first of all, this is far from a bad movie, but at the exact same time, it's a very disappointing movie. And so I'm just going to start off with the good. The cast here is really good. The cast is great. You have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're always great. They always do a great job. They're great actors. Even the supporting cast, the supporting roles, they do a good enough job. None of them bring down the movie with their performances or their casting. And then also the cinematography is actually really good. It looks like a great movie. It looks slickly produced. It's just an overall nice looking horror movie. And then the concept of this movie is like tailor-made for me. I study law as well as Italian, but that's not necessarily relevant here. You know, and as someone that studies law, I find the whole concept that the title suggests, that the quote that they have throughout their marketing suggests, the whole idea that the court accepts God when a witness takes the stand, so it's about time they accept the devil. That whole concept is just inherently intriguing to me. I love that idea. And then I guess that transitions into the bad, because the movie never actually explores that concept. It never explores those themes. That quote from Patrick Wilson, from Ed Warren, is a throwaway line in the first act of the movie. It's never explored. There's only one scene in a courtroom in the entire movie. And so the first act sets up a courtroom horror movie. But the second and third act are anything but that. It turns into an adventure movie where the second act falls into the exact same problems that It Chapter 2 has. Now, It Chapter 2 was dragged out to be 3 hours long, and so it hinders that movie a lot more than it hinders this movie. But it has this, the second act has this episodic, predictable nature to the way it's written. You know, you go on this adventure, this mystery adventure, and you find a clue which takes you to a new location. And then all of a sudden you have to start rebuilding tension again, rebuilding suspense in that location that ends up building towards this nice little sequence, which is well executed, where they find another clue, which leads them to a new location where they have to rebuild suspense once again to lead up to another cool little sequence where you get a clue that leads you to a new location. It's all timed, like exactly the same. You can practically set your watch to it, and it just becomes very predictable, and it loses the suspense that gets built in each separate location. However, the third act does kind of save the movie from the repetitive nature of the second act, because I do really enjoy the third act in this movie. The main demon plays some mind tricks with the Warrens. You kind of get this almost House of Mirrors aesthetic going on. It's just kind of a fun time to watch, and it's all really well executed. And I just really enjoyed that aspect of the third act. However, the resolution in the third act is where I kind of have a big issue. The theme of the resolution is never developed. There is a random scene, it feels very random when it happens, towards the beginning of the movie that does hint towards this theme. But between that random scene and the climax resolution of the movie, that theme is never explored, it's never developed. And so when you get to that resolution, it's just like, oh, I see what you were going for there. Except it came out of nowhere, and it was never developed, and so it lacks payoff. And it's a compelling theme, but like I said, it lacks payoff because it was never developed throughout the movie. Overall, when it comes down to it, I think the main issue is the fact that the first act sets up a different movie than what the second act and third act give us. I think this movie would have worked a lot better if it had been sort of a more of a courtroom horror movie, kind of make 12 Angry Men but with demon possessions thrown in.
If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, a reasonable doubt, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty.
So what circle of hell does The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It belong in? I think it's far from a bad movie, even though I do have quite a bit of issues with it. I think the cast and the acting is great. You have some great cinematography. It's slickly produced, but the writing, especially in the second act, as well as a lack thereof of thematic expression, really drags down the movie from being a great horror movie. And so, therefore, I think The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It belongs in the fourth circle of hell as a meh horror movie. So tell me your thoughts on The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this review, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon, smash that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell as well to stay up to date on my channel. I'm going to review the entire Conjuring universe over this summer, and so stay tuned for that. I know it's a little odd. I'm starting the review series with the latest film, but oh well, maybe I'll review it again at the end, give it a rewatch, who knows. But stay tuned for the rest of the Conjuring Universe reviews. And as always, have one hell of a good time.
If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, a reasonable doubt, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty.